All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you can make the video, I think, yeah, the camera. And welcome. My name is Dominique. This is my sister, Deanna, for those of you who don't know us. So I think everybody on here does. We have been hosting these Zoom calls just to come together and honestly share some stories from Black professionals in our community who are sharing health and wealth with their family and friends, and really merging organic nutrition and empowering our community with the health component. So today we wanted to really honor mental health awareness, and specifically mental health as it relates to gut health and nutrition and
gut brain connection.
Yeah, the gut brain connection, and honestly helping us detoxify from a lot of the chemicals in our food and in our environment through a holistic approach. And we have partnered, me and my sister have actually partnered with an organic superfood company called Purium. And we've been able to help our community nourish, detoxify, and repair at the cellular level through whole food organic supplements. So the superfoods that we share really just allow you to detoxify on a daily basis. And it's everywhere, everything in between, green juices, sleep support, protein, gut support, all these things that really help us conveniently be able to detoxify daily. And so we have beautiful Ms. Detra Clark on tonight. She's a holistic therapist and really zones in on nutrition with her clients. She's also a regenerative detox practitioner. So I really wanted her to come on and just share her experience of what she's seen from the mental health side, working directly with her clients, and then how important nutrition is and being able to serve them on a deeper level, not just for the time that she's with them, but lifestyle and long-term support. So Detra, I just want you to, well, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to share tonight. I know you have, the credentials and everything. I want you to be able to speak to them, but if you just want to introduce, yourself first, and then we'll kind of go back and forth with some questions that we have in mind.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me on. I'm Detra Clark, and I have been a therapist for over 15 years as a regenerative detoxification practitioner. And so that's all just kind of fancy terminology for getting to the root. Everything in the body and this was really one of the missing links. And positive mindset and reversing environmental changes and stressors, but I was missing this piece that we're going to talk about tonight. And it really has kind of been the game changer for people with mental health and the longevity of mental health, right? We don't want just temporary changes. We want changes that sustain, that become a lifestyle. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So yeah, with what you said, I know some of the people that we have came into our community have suffered with sleep and anxiety, depression, a lot of these things. And we have learned just from the community that we're a part of about the importance of gut health, and specifically being able to help people detoxify from glyphosate, which I know you share a lot about. That was something we didn't know what glyphosate was, or honestly had never heard of it. We had heard of Roundup, the weed killer, but we didn't really understand how that was even relating to our food, or how it could be actually affecting us. So if you could speak to, I want to start with the gut, obviously, because that's where everything really starts, right? But if you could speak to the gut brain connection and this epidemic that we have right now with glyphosate, and why it's so important to be able to help people detoxify from that and kind of start there with their nutrition.
Yeah, I was also going to say too, kind of just tying in Purium, like what did you see from Purium that made you say yes to like adding this into what you were doing? I guess definitely in terms as it relates to the gut health, but I think that'll be a good piece to kind of tie in as well. If you could speak to just that part of like what made you say like, okay, this makes sense for me and what I have to offer, or whatever you saw.
Yeah, so I'll start there. I'll start with my yes. I had never heard of Purium. And similar to you, I had never heard of glyphosate, which is really actually very sad because I'm originally from Arkansas. And Arkansas is in the part of the US that is considered Cancer Alley. So it just lights up. If you look at a map, it lights up like overwhelmingly ridiculous high for glyphosate exposure and cancer and autoimmune and all kinds of other disease because of the runoff of the Mississippi onto the crop. So I should have heard of glyphosate, but I hadn't because we dress it up and call it all kinds of other things instead of calling it what it actually is. And that was one of the pieces that made me say yes, because I was already, I feel like, pretty educated on the brain gut connection and the HPA axis and all those things. But I had this piece, like clients would get like 85% there or 90% there, but there was always this sliver of not kind of getting over the hump. And so when I heard about regenerative agriculture, and when I heard about what glyphosate does to the gut, that was it for me. That was my yes. And it was an instant yes, because it's the piece that I think every clinician is missing this piece. We're not taught this in school. I was never taught this in any of my continuing education. And so when I heard this, I knew that this hump and to get over the hump faster. So with that, you would ask about the gut, because it really is the hub of everything we do in the body. In Western medicine, we say that the gut is the second not. Our gut is our to do and where to go. It's what helps the neurotransmitters to fire. It is responsible for really sending the message to the brain. So when there's a disconnect in the gut because it's been eaten up with chemical pesticides and toxins, those neurotransmitters don't fire. So essentially what happens is 9 signals go from our gut up to our brain, and only 1 goes from our brain down to our gut. So if my gut is damaged because of glyphosate, chemical pesticides, then I'm not getting the message. And so then what I do is I think, oh, I'm broken. My brain is not working for me. And so then what's the option? Probably a psychotropic medication or a diagnosis where I never really quite get to the issue. But even with the medication, you're not getting to the issue because the issue is in the gut. The medication is designed to communicate to the brain, not to the gut. And so it's imperative, it's vital that the gut is repaired, because 70% of your serotonin is made in your gut. Your melatonin, which is that sleep. You mentioned I have friends and clients that don't sleep well. Melatonin, dopamine, and serotonin are all made in the gut. And when they can't be produced, there's a lag in the communication. And so the brain and the gut connection is off balance. There's a misfiring. So it's kind of like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's something that now that even me not even being, a specialist in mental health or anything, what I've seen just being able to support my friends, my family, my clients with these superfoods is night and day. And not, understanding the importance of gut health, but like not even knowing the extreme is what's happening, what you just broke down, and how it's so simple with something, the support that we have. So I do want to actually share like the solutions and the nutrition that you've been able to share with your clients and how it exactly supports you. So I'm going to share the screen really quick so you can start there, because obviously we've been talking about the gut. So we know Biomedic is really powerful with being able to detoxify glyphosate. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to start there, I know this is the pretty much like our ultimate lifestyle transformation, which is usually where most people start, or our daily core 4, but it centers around these core superfoods. So if you want to break down each one of them, I guess the Biomedic, because we know that's the one that actually helps detoxify glyphosate, and then just speak to how they support the gut and, your mental health.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Biometric, this was a huge one for me because most everybody that we know is taking some form of probiotic, right? That's a big sell point. You need a probiotic for your gut, but a probiotic without a prebiotic is actually not very helpful, because the prebiotic is what supports the gut to receive the probiotic. So our Biometric is a prebiotic and a probiotic together, and it is the only probiotic on the market that is clinically and scientifically proven to remove glyphosate or Roundup from the gut. Because what actually happens, if you look at glyphosate under a microscope, what happens is it builds up this like yucky, stick, black film on the inside of your bowel wall called mucoid plaque. And that plaque is really what clogs up and breaks down the communication from the gut to the brain. And so what Biometric does is it starts to eat away at that and actually pull that sticky black film out through the bowels. So your poop, your waste is essentially black, but that's good because it means it's coming out of the body. And it also reduces C-reactive protein. And when people have too high protein in the body, it creates a lot of stress on their glands and their organs. And when your glands and your organs are stressed out, then the body has to overcompensate for that in some way. So that leads to feeling really tired. People feel really apathetic, like their joy for life, their zest is gone because they're heavy all the time. And so getting rid of this chemical pesticide is really kind of the essential for repairing and meeting gut health needs. And then the Power Shake to my left is 96% of all of your fruit and veggie needs. Why does this matter? And why can't you just go in your kitchen and get a bunch of fruit and veggies and blend it up and that be a shake? Well, you can do that. But what is missing in that is your nutrients. Our fruits and our veggies in the store are really missing their vibrancy, and they're missing their phytonutrients because the plants are sprayed with pesticides. And because the plants are sprayed with pesticides, it damages the root. It damages something in the plant known as the shikimate pathway, which is really where we get all of the good stuff that we want. And so you're getting more nourishment cellularly with the Power Shake. And that's what people need for the light bulbs to come back on in their body. When you see people that are really flat, people that are really not expressive anymore, people that used to be so joyful, but now they're kind of dry, it's usually because they're cellularly dehydrated and they're depleted. And so the Power Shake is adding that back in, and it's really helping the light switch to flip back on. The aminos are crucial for feeling satiated, but also for energy. These repair joint, muscle, connective tissue, and they really help the body to thrive. So we say a lot in our company and in regenerative health that we are overfed and undernourished. And when people are undernourished, they don't feel good. I know when I'm not feeling very satiated in my body, I don't want to get up and go do anything. And then that chronic over time, 6, 7, 8 months, years at a time of having this cellular depletion, your body just kind of gives out. Our bodies can go as fast and as hard as we support them to. So when we're not giving them the nutrients they need, they get tired. And so that's what I love about the Power Shake and the aminos together. And then the apothecary, this is great for deep sleep support. So most all of society, like 7 out of 10 people, we're sleeping at night, but we're not resting. And rest is where our bodies do their reparative work. It's where they rebuild, it's where they reboot, and it's where they get the get up and go for the next day. And so when we give our bodies apothecary, which is just basically organic cherry tart juice, it supports it to go into REM sleep, which is where you have the deep dreams, but it's also where every single organ in your body repairs and detoxes and gets rid of the stuff that it doesn't need to have. And so we're really missing this. I used to have people, probably, I would say 5 out of 9 clients needed some form of melatonin to support them to deeper sleep at night because their bodies were so overworked, they couldn't wind down on their own to go to sleep. But if you take things like melatonin, which your body actually can make on its own, it sends a message to your body not to make anymore. And so what Apothecary does is supports the body to produce more melatonin on its own so you can get into that deep sleep by yourself without having to take something else. So everything that we offer here is whole food sources supporting the body into a thriving state so that it can naturally do what it was designed to do on its own.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. I know you had some other superfoods that you kind of use specifically for like the nervous system and the brain function and mental health. So I want to pull those up too while we're on this topic.
Yeah.
Dominique's gonna, yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
Okay, so we made like a little graphic with all of them. But if you could just kind of continue on and just kind of speak to a little bit, because these are what we just showed you is kind of like our core 4 superfoods, which literally everyone is the foundation of that, you know, nutrition, like she was talking about, getting the nutrient density, getting your minerals, getting all of those like basics in. And then these are honestly like an additional boost, but a lot of them are specifically, you know, designed to help with mental acuity and brain function and nervous system and all that kind of stuff and stress levels. So I'll let you explain these as well.
Yeah, that's great. So, and I love that you guys did this. Everybody should start at the base level of the 4, like I call them our pillars. Like that's kind of what supports the house, right? Your body is a house. And so what we just went over are those 4 pillars that every single human being needs to start with to really reset. And then to add on and really to go up a level. And I have seen people wean off of medication, adding this in. Wow. So I'll start at my bottom left is the Kids in Focus. And so the Kids in Focus is a herbal tincture. It's just a liquid, tastes like maple syrup. I actually take it every day to support my adrenals, but I recommend it a lot for children and adults that struggle with like ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, people that struggle with intense anxiety to the point that they can't keep their focus, or even people that feel worked up a lot. And because they're so worked up, they lack the ability to self-regulate. So this supports the adrenals and it supports the nervous system to be able to self-regulate. That's your body's ability to be able to read the room and to go, I'm okay, I'm safe, I can calm down a little bit, I don't have to feel so worked up. Or a child that has like physical aggression, or maybe that throws tantrums. This is great for a child that does that because it's supporting their nervous system to operate on its own. It's kind of coaching their nervous system into being able to respond appropriately. And then the Be Energetic is an amazing adrenal support. And adrenals are, next to the liver and the pituitary, probably the single most important gland in our body. Adrenals are responsible for energy and focus. So when people are like, oh, I have brain fog, I can't remember what I was going to do. Women and men who struggle with libido, I don't have a sex drive anymore, I don't feel good in my body, I'm apathetic, just kind of that desire to live and live well. The adrenals are responsible for that. So the Be Energetic supports the adrenals to be able to operate well, to move them out of adrenal fatigue. White American ginseng is a great endocrine support. So our endocrine system is like our thyroid, it's our pituitary, and it's our hormone system. And so this is really supporting your hormone levels, because when people have anxiety, when they have depression or mood instability, sleep dysregulation, any of those kind of things, their hormones are also, in addition to the gut, the hormones are off. So White American ginseng paired with the Be Energetic is an amazing support for hormones and adrenals together to really support the gut and firing back up. And then Revive It All is exactly like it sounds. It is a mood support. It is it's a redo. Like, let's just start all over. So Revive It All is great for mood. It's also great for supporting the organs. It's great for skin renewal. And so I really pair typically the Be Energetic, the White American Ginseng, and the Revive It All with those 4 foundational products to really support people into thriving mental health and moving them off of medication if that's what they would like.
Right.
Of course, we always want people to do that under the care of a physician or a professional, but I have yet to meet a client that didn't want to be off of their medication and find something a little more holistic. And so this is just a great starting place. And then the dark berry it's a shake, but what I love about the dark berry that's different than the power shake. So the power shake is really focusing on cellular nourishment. The dark berry is protein, but it also supports neurotransmission. And neurotransmission is a part of your nervous system. So it's those communicators from the gut up to the brain that we talked about in the first half of the video. So it's really strengthening those to carry that message of, hey, focus, hey, mood, regulation, sleep. It's supporting the message to go from your gut up to your brain in a strong signal. So this is really what we like to add on when people's primary goal, and I don't know a person who doesn't need mental health. We all have a mind and we all have emotions, so we could all benefit from taking these. And if I'm looking at the screen right now, I take 1, 2, 3, 4 of them every day to support me emotionally, because I want to be my best for my family.
Exactly. No, I love that you just broke down all of these. The dark berry has been new that I've started adding in recently, like every single day. And I just know, even when I started adding in these superfoods like 3 years ago, I remember like I wasn't as like talkative on social media. I wasn't as just like when you mentioned like being vibrant or just really showing up as your true self.
The vitality.
Yeah, I didn't really have that. And I noticed like really serving myself with these foods, I started to kind of just like let my light shine even more. So I didn't know if you have any, specific like stories or client testimonies that you can share that, maybe you watched them along the journey of how they just kind of blossomed, or what you've seen through their transformation that's been so powerful that, somebody that's watching this could say like, wow, like I know someone in my family or one of my clients is struggling with that too.
Yeah, I do. I could tell you so many, but I want to honor people's time. So I'll just start with 2 that were really amazing. The first one I'll start with is she's actually on my team, and she is a fellow therapist like me. And she has struggled with ADHD since we went to high school together. So when we were in high school, it was undiagnosed. Back then, we didn't give things titles, right? But she struggled with being able to focus and really, really bright. And so now she's a therapist. She's in her 40s. Has a daughter, but was on medication, and she needed a nap every day. She had quite a bit of weight gain because the good side sometimes to medication is, I guess, it allows you to function, right, to do the day-to-day things. The offside of it is it can create some apathy where you're not as active. So she was napping quite a bit. And it was a year this month, actually, since she started. She was off of her medication in her first 4 months.
Wow.
She is now working out again. Yep. She's working out again. She's lost weight, but thriving. It's not like I'm off my medication and I'm struggling to get through the day. It's like I'm off my medication. I've picked up more clients. I'm able to show up better for my family, and she's doing well. And I don't think she would mind me to share her story. She's very public with it. Her name is Candace Baker. So if anybody wanted to go follow her on Facebook, she's always sharing her story because she's so transformed. And really, as a therapist, you hope that what you're doing for people is going to make the impact in their life. But when you see it in your own life, you become a believer of what you're talking about even more. So that's the first story. And the second story is my sister. My
Oh,
sister I have 4 sisters.
wow.
And they're all older. This is one of my older sisters. She was on depression and anxiety medication for probably since I was in college. And then we've just continued to add in different things, sleep medications, and she's off of them.
Wow.
So she had her first 3 months, she came off of her Adderall for ADHD.
Mm.
Then at the 5th month, she cut down the sleep medication. At the 6th month, she came off of the anxiety and depression medication. And so now she started with me right when I started 2 years ago. So she's now completely off of all of her medication. So we just slowly titrated her down, which is the best way to do it. But now she's doing really, really well. She's in education and she's thriving. Her marriage is healthy. Her kids are grown up, but those relationships are healthy. Just because when you feel depressed, when you feel anxious, or when you have trouble concentrating, you really can't show up well for other people because you're doing well to show up for yourself, right? Sometimes that's all you can do to get through the day. And so to know 2 people that are in my life and to see their lives transformed has been huge for me, because we see testimonies, we hear stories of other people we don't know. These are people that I live my life
Yeah.
with. And so it's close to my heart to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Congratulations to your sister
Yeah, thank you for
and
sharing.
everybody. I mean, obviously that you supported. And the key point too that I took away from that is that when we are in this field of just, being of service, whatever that looks like, whether it's your career or if you're mom or if your sister or whatever, we tend to want to pour into other people, but our cup is depleted. And being able to have something like nutrition is huge. But speaking from a lot of the therapists and mental health practitioners that I've spoken to, a lot of them are very depleted because they're taking on so much of the stories of their clients and like trying to help them and serve them. But just kind of like what you mentioned with Candace. So, if you were to speak to someone who is a fellow, therapist, or in this field that is like, okay, everything you're talking about, I either need for myself or I know that my clients could benefit from it. Like, what advice would you give them to start? Or if they might feel like, okay, I'm not really well versed in nutrition, I don't have a certification in nutrition. How can they still be able to serve their community? And what advice would you give to them about that?
I would say you just learn as you go. The longer that I have been in our community, I realized all of these gaps that I had in my 6-7 year education like the list goes on of certifications, but I was missing this piece. And the longer that I've been in this community, the more that I've learned. So I say, just start. And the more that you're willing to learn, there's no lack of education here. We do products and passion every Wednesday. We are constantly educating each other, and it's something that our community needs because we don't get this. Doctors don't get nutritional training. They have 6 weeks in their rotation. They have 6 weeks, and we get even less than that as practitioners. The second thing that I would say is the more that you can serve your clients with wraparound services, the more valuable you are, right? So when I was practicing in my town back home, I knew an OBGYN, I knew a pediatrician, I knew a chiropractor, I knew a massage therapist, right? All those are wraparound services. I was never able to refer somebody to a nutritionist that was holistic because I didn't know one. And so sometimes we have to be that person, right? You can't always refer out. Sometimes you have to step in the gap to be able to offer something greater to your clients. And so if somebody is willing to do that, you make yourself more valuable because you're bringing not only this mental health piece, but you're bringing a piece that really they're going to need beyond you. Our goal as therapists is not for people to stay with us forever. It's for them to get what they need and then for us to send them out. So if we can add value by teaching them how to eat and nourish well, we've given them a gift. And then the third thing that I would say is that there are very few of us that have this training. The more that we can train each other, we really expand the field and add a different level of value than what we've been able to do in the past. Therapists are missing this. And so I say be the one that's willing to step in and bring this back to the community so that we can make more therapists like us that are well-rounded. that are really helping people get to the root.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I love about what we have too with Purium is that say you're on the journey and you just heard that and you're like, hey, I really want to get my nutrition certification, but I kind of want to like, still see clients and do these kinds of things with Purium. You're able to actually, just as, for me, recommending someone in the gym to go to Vitamin Shop and get this protein, right? It's the same thing I do here with, Purium, which is the same thing that a therapist that maybe isn't necessarily like a certified holistic nutritionist could also be like, hey, you definitely need a probiotic. The biomedic, from what I've seen, because we can all, read ingredients and things like that, is the best one. So you can go ahead and honestly start, recommending those things as you're learning. If you feel called to do this, holistic nutrition or detoxification or, whatever it is. I think I love that too, because we can help so many more people just by sharing the message and not feeling like we always have to have the pressure of, I need this XYZ, letters after my name and all this schooling. I can't start until I have all of that done. It's like something that you can implement. And I don't know if you would recommend this or not, but maybe having the someone that's interested, maybe start with their own transformation, like just adding the foods in their own lifestyle. Yeah.
Always start with yourself. The best, any practice, whether it's a trainer or a therapist or a massage therapist, the best ones are always working on themselves, right? When I talk about this, I'm talking about what I know because I've taken it into my own body. Yeah. And so you don't need a special certification to start, but I would say start for yourself, experience it for yourself. And then you can refer from a place of like personal experience and confidence in what you're doing. But also, you don't need to do it in the way that we do it to share it, right?
True.
You don't have to do it the way that Deanna and Dominique and I do it to be able to share it. And the beautiful thing about what we do is we love for people to refer to us. You girls would love for somebody to say, I'm not 100% sure, but this is what I've heard, but let me refer you to my friend who does this all day, every day, right? Because we do that all the time. How many people do we send to Sal's drugstore down the street to pick up something that we've never tried? We don't know what's on the label, but we're confident to do that. Why not send them to someone that you know and trust who's walking this out?
Yeah, 1,000%. You just nailed everything. But yeah, what it comes down to as well is the community, right? And obviously when we're talking about holistic health, we can only support each other the best that we can support ourselves. And that's why I love this community. I love this nutrition. I love just what we're creating here, especially holding space for our community, because we are disconnected. We have a lot of just issues when it comes to our nutrition and the way that we've grown up eating. And it starts with us living the lifestyle, but also sharing our story as much as we can. So I really do appreciate you, taking the time to share your story and give so much value and knowledge with all the superfoods. Like, I feel like I learn something new every time I get on one of these calls. But like Detra said, we do have community support from our own team, as well as the company with the owners. They have calls every week, once a week or twice a week, actually, where they speak to the business and speak to the nutrition. So if you have questions, like, you have a ton of support. It's not something that you ever should feel like you're alone with, but we really do encourage you to, take a look at this to, if you're watching this and you're thinking of somebody in your family or in your life that needs this. I mean, obviously everybody does. I'm not sure, who came to mind, but, please get back to whoever invited you to this call or sent you this video, and they'll be able to guide you on the next steps and show you, plug you into our community and support you on a deeper level. I don't know if you had any closing thoughts on Detra, or if anybody on here also had any questions, you can raise your hand too, and we can get to you if you do have a question, but if not, we'll wrap up.
No, this has been great. I say just do it. I wish that I had had this at so many different points in my life. I have 4 kids. I would have loved to have had this when I was pregnant and nursing.
Wow.
I would have loved to have had this in graduate school when I was drinking coffee all night long, trying to stay awake, tearing my gut up. I mean, like, really at any point along my journey. And I'm so blessed to have found it 2 years ago. So if this video or replay ends up in your hands, please just be courageous and start.
Yeah,
Just start.
perfect. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording and then